everybody, Scott here from the Jostens service station. Yep, time for our September fill-up. Coming up in a moment, some great thoughts from a Jostens creative accounts manager on the value of storytelling this year, and especially this crazy year. Some events and groups and things already getting canceled, so that has folks thinking about their yearbook coverage. We'll have some insights for you, but first, let's start with some news. And let's start again. How are you doing? A little crazy out there in some places. Some folks are kind of normal. They're back at school, yeah, with masks and distancing and all that. Some folks are doing that hybrid idea. They're in the building just a couple days a week, kind of back and forth. And some folks, of course, are all remote. Could that happen to everybody again? We're already hearing reports about some groups and events getting canceled, but the thing is, there are still stories to tell. So here are some ideas for you. First off, when it comes to sports, even if seasons are canceled, there were still football players and soccer players and volleyball players and so on, and they all have their own stories. So instead of just covering a season, why not cover the people? Very simple. Compile some questions, toss those to those particular athletes to answer, and get their responses. You can still have a football spread, just a little different this year. There are lots and lots of stories to tell this amazing school year, and it's part of your job to go out and tell them. So this year, let's make it much more about covering people and topics in your yearbook. And if you need lots of ideas, contact your Jostens representative for our growing list of ideas. In fact, we've done a lot of the heavy lifting for you. For Jostens schools, go to the digital classroom on Yearbook Avenue. In the search bar there, enter Story Starter Surveys, and then click on the Story Starter Surveys tab. There you'll find tons of ready-made survey questions ready to go on all different subjects. Just copy the ones you want, paste them into a Google form or some other similar device, send it out to your audience, gather their information. Then you can make cool infographics and really informative spreads this year that people will always enjoy reading. And by the way, for Jostens high schools out there, don't forget about our brand new Yearbook Plus digital feature. If you haven't heard from this yet, again, contact your Jostens representative for more information. Here's a chance for every single student in school to tell their own story with their own pictures, and it's all tied to your yearbook. Also, you, the yearbook staff, can create special tags on individual pages tied to more digital images that you can share out. This is a fantastic new informational tool. Get ready. Again, contact your representative for more information, and trust me, distribution day will never be the same again. Well, again, this is definitely the year to tell stories in the yearbook about people and topics, not just the usual groups and events. It's easy to do, and this year, it's really important. Recently, we talked to one of our terrific Jostens CAMs who shared some terrific insights for any yearbook staff.
Hi, my name is Jeff Moffitt. I'm a creative accounts manager for Jostens. I'm based in Dallas, Texas. What's going to make this year so cool and unique is the stories that are going to be told are like nothing ever before, and this is a year like no other before. So the yearbook's going to be different, and not only do we want to accept that, let's embrace that. Let's make it different. Let's do those things. I think the readers are really going to love some of the innovation that I'm seeing kids come up with. A lot of us that are yearbooking and yearbookers have been able every year to know what the stories that we're going to tell. Okay, we know we're going to have homecoming. We know there's going to be a basketball game. We know this certain dance. So we can already predict what that story is going to be like. We kind of know what those photos are because we've done it sort of the same way year after year with different people. And I'm not discrediting that because I've done it. The yearbook, they're excited even if it's a picture that was similar to one from 10 years, but the faces are changed. But we don't have those events now. And so that makes us find other ways to tell that story. So this is one of the hard things that I think we're like, oh, what is this going to look like? Because we don't have an answer. We know what a basketball spread is going to look like. So what is this sort of unknown virtual spread going to look like? And that's where I think the creativity really has to come through. Even just sitting here, I can see out my window and I see kids riding their bikes a couple of times a day. I see people walking their dogs. And I think some of those could be interesting stories. I think you can, find out even as much as like, what kind of dog do you have? Why did you get it? people can identify that. You know, if I asked everyone watching this right now to raise your hand if you have a pet, at least 50%, closer to 80% people, 80% of the people could say they did, or they've had one in their life. So have we ever told that story in the yearbook? Here's an opportunity to do that. Something else is let kids tell their own stories for the first time. Even though traditional events and activities aren't happening, people are still doing things. They're still playing sports and doing their hobbies and doing art and dance. They're just doing it in a different way. So yearbooks, we need to cover that in a different way. And it is harder because the event that was pre-packaged and delivered to us, that's gone. The Amazon delivery yearbook is no more. So now we have to figure out how do we make it happen. You know, one of the things that I used to do when I was younger was look at my mom's yearbooks from the 50s and 60s, and I don't know who that advisor was. I don't even know who the yearbook staff was, but they've captured this moment in time that I was fascinated with. When I come across an old yearbook from 1910 or 1920s, it just pulls me into this moment of time, and that's what your students are doing, and you're guiding them through that. And that's pretty powerful because there's no other class that does something like that. There's no other club that does something like that. So no matter what platform you're in, you're the only ones that are doing something that's going to be around for a lifetime. So that's cool.
Thanks again to Jeff for sharing some great thoughts and ideas about telling more stories in the yearbook. And for Jostens schools, be on the lookout for more live online events featuring our terrific creative accounts managers this fall, like their Taco Tuesday series. But you just saw a small portion there. For the entire 50-minute interview with even more insights about stories from Jeff Moffitt, check out our podcast at the address shown on the screen. And be sure to follow our Yearbooking Report podcast so you never miss an episode. Finally, here's a suggestion if you're not doing this already. Take lots and lots of images right now, right away, of as many different people as you can. In school, out of school, around town, wherever. Back in the spring, a lot of schools got caught in the lockdown with very few extra images to use, and that lockdown thing could happen again. Let's make sure it doesn't get you caught. Make a stockpile, a giant pile of images of different people so that later on, if you need them, you can use them to complete your spreads or maybe tell some brand new stories. Well, no matter what the situation is at your school right now or later this fall or winter, your 2021 yearbook will remember all the great stories of this most incredible school year ever. And years from now, when people want to look back to find out what happened during this amazing year, they will thank you for all the great stories you're going to put into your 2021 yearbook. Thanks again for watching.